This book is so underrated. This entire series is so underrated. It's got everything you need. It's got fantasy-ness, it's got vampires, it's got werewolves, it's got dragons, it's got magic, it's got romance, it's got spice. It's so underrated. I don't know why there's not a lot of hype about this book. It deserves it. You're about to watch me read Shadows of Betrayal. This is the third book in the Shadow Realm series. I will be updating you periodically as I read the book with my thoughts. I'm pretty excited to read this book because of just, I've been having a really good time with this book. Like, there's just something so fun and unique and action-packed about it that I'm just like, so good. So I definitely expect this third book to be as good or better than the previous two, especially the way that the second book ended. That was such a good reveal, and I'm like, oh my goodness, how is that gonna play out in this book? It's obviously called Shadows of Betrayal, which is like a big key of what happened. So I'm like, I'm also looking for any kind of like foreshadowing maybe that's on the cover here. Like there's a phoenix, there's like some kind of whale or something in there, and I don't know how any of those things are related to the book, but I'm really excited to see like how this relates to the book, which is gonna be cool. And I love the betrayal aspect. I think that honestly I was really surprised, so I'm like, oh, what's gonna happen? So as usual, there will be no spoilers about Shadows of Betrayal, but there will be mentions from the previous two other books. So you might get a bit of spoilers if you haven't read the series, but I always do my best to try to not reveal anything too big. So from my understanding, Shadows of Betrayal takes place, I imagine, right after the events of the second book. And we have Cole and Lexi again. And so we know that from the previous book that Cole had become kin, and some of the Dark Fae are rebelling against this, and that's causing a lot of drama. So he has to basically go back and make sure that another war does not start. And Lexi goes with him as well. And we know that there must be something going on with her because of what we kind of learned about her at the end of the second book with Oren and the dad and like all of that stuff. So I definitely suspect something's up with her. And so I'm really excited to see like where the rest of her story is going to go. We know that her aunt Sahira is out with Brock to kind of like look for that stone so they can kind of like show the Lord and make it look like that they killed the brothers without actually killing the brothers. So I'm excited to see all these different stories that seem to be going different parts of this world now as well, and more development of it. And the back of the book kind of talks about how there's going to be a betrayal from someone that they love and that they trust. And so I wonder if it's what happened at the end of the second book, or if this is something else. And it also talks about more about Lexi being involved in this world and learning more about the Gloaming and the creatures and how it's more dangerous than everybody ever like imagined. And so I'm really excited to learn more about that, because we've kind of seen a little bit of the Gloaming, but most of it has been like in like the modern day, kind of like our world kind of. And now it seems like we're going more into the magical realm, which I'm really excited to see. So let's crack this book right open and get to reading. So I'm a little bit more than 100 pages into Shadows of Betrayal, and here are my thoughts so far. I finally understand the cover. This is really cool. So this is like the witches / crone world, and there's like a bunch of different magical creatures in that area. So there's like pixies and phoenixes and Sasquatch and mermaids. So I thought it was like a whale, but it's actually a mermaid there. And so this is really cool. And there's also some foreshadowing about the stone at the top. Beautiful cover. I love when the covers are like hinting towards what the book is about. And then when you're reading the book, you're like, oh, I get it. It's like when the name of the book is mentioned and you're like, oh, title drop, and beautiful. So this book is also really, really good. It's really jam-packed. I'm really loving the development with Lexi's character here. She really is starting to become a little bit more like a person, which is really cool. And I know that I mentioned that in the previous book that I read as well, the first book as well. Like, it is a slow progression of her character becoming somebody, which I really, really like. I like who she's becoming. She's a little bit more fierce. She's learning how to fight. There's that whole mystery about like what is her lineage, the stuff that we found out about her dad and like Oren, and so good. And then the rebellion scene was really, really good, because we know that some of the dark fae are like, we don't want Cole to be the king because he's like half fae, which I don't really get like what the issues are with that, because it seems like being half fae makes him more powerful because he's pretty much immune to fate metal. Like, not immune, he can still die from it, but he's less likely to die getting stabbed with fey metal because he's only half fae, whereas anybody who's a full fae, it's like insta-death. So I don't know why that's a bad thing. It seems like it makes him even more powerful. So maybe that's why people don't like him though. Maybe they're like, too powerful? I'm not entirely sure, but I feel like being half fae is actually better. And I love the fight scene. I've mentioned this and I'll continue to mention it, that Brenda K. Davies knows how to write a fight scene. She knows exactly how to pace it, how to get you interested. Cole loves to behead people, so that happens a lot. And she just does a really great job of different ways to keep you entertained throughout the fight scene, having the stakes being high, and of course just having different perspectives from other characters now. So we're not just getting Lexi and Cole, we're also getting Brock and Oren and Sahira. So like, there's a lot, and I'm excited to see. I actually kind of hope that it expands a little bit more, because you're seeing these different parts of the world, and it's really just creating this cool, magical, just yes. So where I'm at right now is we had our nice fight scene. We had Lexi actually being pretty cool, to be honest, doing cool stuff there. And then we had some really good scenes with Brock and Sahira as they're exploring the crone world. That was really cool. I love how magical it is. I love just seeing how these half vampires are being treated, because there's a lot of drama between the witches and the vampires, and so that was a really cool thing to see, just like how they're being treated versus how they're treated in like the dark fae world, which is interesting. And then also where we're at right now, when they're over at the manor and there's like this note, it's like, we need to chat, and then they go down to like the little tunnels and stuff, and Lexi's like and so that's just where I paused and I was like, okay, that's the update. I feel like something big is about to be revealed, and I'm like, I'm so excited to find out. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. I'm having a blast with this, and I'm just like, yeah, it's great. So I'm going to continue to read Shadows of Betrayal, and I will update you around the halfway mark. So I will see you then. Now definitely more than halfway through Shadows of Betrayal, and these books get better and better, I swear. Lexi's character is developing a lot faster in this book than in the previous book, so it's really fun to kind of watch that and see as she evolves and becomes more independent and just like all this great stuff. The brothers as well, we finally get to meet Varro, who's Oren and Cole's youngest brother, and he's a sweetie. He's so nice. I love him. He's basically half light fae and half dark fae, and so the light fae, they feed on joy and stuff, and then the dark fae, they feed on like spicy time. And so he's pretty in a bad place because everything is like, there's lack of joy everywhere. So he's pretty depressed all the time, but he's really nice and cute. And there was like this really well done kind of flashback scene of Cole protecting him when he was a kid. And I thought that was really cute and really wholesome. And it just shows the strength of the brothers' relationships and getting to learn more about them. I absolutely love seeing how different all of the brothers are, the other half that they are, because they're all half dark fae and then half something else. And so it's really cool to be able to see their different powers, their different personalities, and despite it all, how much they all love each other like siblings do. And I love it. It's good. And of course, I already mentioned, but I'll mention it again just because I thought it was so cool, is that we're seeing more of the world. So with Sahira and Brock, we got to see like where all the witches live and like what that kind of realm looks like. We're exploring more of the Gloaming as well. So they kind of went to this area called the Underhill, and it's like very cozy and very nice, and there's a lot of horses and stuff, and it was a vibe. It was really great. I really love just how much more we're learning, not only about the world, but also the characters and the politics and the powers and all of this. It's really building up to something that I'm really excited to, like, I'm obviously enjoying this book, and I'm also really excited to read the rest of the books. Like, where's the story going to go? We're really getting some cool stuff, especially where I am right now. And I can't exactly say where I am right now because it's going to be a huge spoiler for you, but if you've read this book, then let's just say clones, tunnels, sunlight. that's enough of a hint for you. If you know, you know. So yeah, I really love that, and I'm excited to see what's gonna happen. I'm also finding the dialogue is done a lot better in this book. Like, it was okay in the first one. Sometimes it was a little bit awkward, a little bit clunky at times. Second book, it was a little bit better. Third book, she's really like getting the dialogue down here. Obviously, all the fight scenes are really great. The descriptive areas when it comes to like the different worlds and stuff, I think that she's really shining. I think it was more like when they were in like our kind of world, like Lexi's kind of area, that's where the writing was a little bit like but when it came to like the magical stuff, it's like boom, amazing, cool. You can taste it, you can smell it, you can see it, you can feel it, all of that really great stuff. So I'm really excited to see what's gonna happen. And yeah, so I'm gonna continue to read, and I will update you when I finish this book. So I will see you then. I just finished Shadows of Betrayal, and yes, this story, I love where it's going so much. The pacing of this book was so good. All the character introductions and like all of this, the way that everything's just like coming together is so cool, and like how cruel the Lord is, and how Lexi and Cole's relationship is gonna grow, as well as like Cole's powers, like the prophecy, there's a prophecy now as well. This is so good. If you are not convinced yet to read this series, I definitely hope that this convinces you, because it's getting so good. And just, okay, you know what it reminds me of? It's like when I started reading Throne of Glass, the first 2 or 3 books were okay, and then it became this incredible, like, awe-inspiring, mind-blowing series, and that's what this one's starting to do. Like, the first 2 books were good, don't get me wrong. I liked them. I already mentioned that I liked them. They just weren't as... They were like a little bit clunky at times, and maybe some like typos and stuff, but this third one, oh yeah, there's a lot happening, and all the foreshadowing, like this thing, I was like, you know, they're kind of mentioning this thing a lot when it comes to like describing a character's appearance, and now I understand why. It wasn't just to describe it, it's to really reinforce some foreshadowing. I'm like, ooh, that's clever, I like it, this is so fun. Yeah, so if you like fantasy, this book. So today I will be awarding Shadows of Betrayal a total of 4.5 stars. This series is getting better and better. Like, this book is the best one in the series so far, and I love the other ones, but this one, there's just like the pacing was so good, everything was so good, the characters, the drama, the way that everything was followed, like, yes, I'm like so immersed into it now that I'm really excited to get the next book, which unfortunately I do not have, but at this point I'm gonna have to buy the entire series, because I'm already 3 books in, and I don't think that I'm at risk now of dropping the series. Like, I don't usually like to buy the entire thing until I'm like hooked, and I know that I'm hooked now, so I'm gonna be buying the entire series pretty much. However, I am not where I usually am. I am in a different city right now, and so I only have the books that I brought with me. So the next book that I'll be reading is Where Sleeping Girls Lie by Frida Abike Amayade. Please let me know if that's how you say that name. There's a lot of like accented little symbols on the top there, so I really hope that I'm saying that correctly. Yeah, I got this book, I bought it I think in April or so, and I just haven't read it. It's like, you know, sometimes like you buy books and they live on your shelf until you're like ready to read them. This is one of those books I'm ready to read, and so I'm just really excited. It's kind of like a fine wine. It's better when you drink it a little bit later, you know? Yeah, so I'm really excited to read this book. So if you're interested in watching me read the next book in the Shadow Realm series, Where Sleeping Girls Lie, Brandon Sanderson, Elsie Silver, Emily Henry, Ellie Hazelwood, a bunch of other incredible authors, definitely hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and turn on the bell notification. That way you get notified anytime a new video comes out. If you enjoyed this video, and if you're a big fantasy fan, definitely hit the like button, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.